A professional athlete, especially a pro football player, must have a strong sense of confidence in himself and his team. But this confidence must not be blown out of proportion. When it is, it becomes a nemesis that can devastate a team more quickly and more forcefully than a host of injuries. As we shall see, overconfidence played a major role this week in the AFL. Some of the favorites were dealt costly defeats, and others were shoved around like cellar dwellers, but managed to win. The last-place Denver Broncos showed the first-place New York Jets that a $400,000 quarterback isn't worth 50 cents if he leads an overconfident team. Denver was wearing red pants, but Jet quarterback Joe Namath's face was even redder as he frequently overthrew his receivers and was intercepted 5 times, once by number 57, John Heward. The usually porous Bronco defense had not intercepted once in their 4 previous games. But Joe Willie managed to break out of the doldrums long enough to put the Jets into scoring position with the help of number 13, Don Maynard. Jet halfback Emerson Boozer blasted over from the 5 for a 7-0 New York lead. Starting his first game of this year, quarterback Steve Tinsey led a drive that covered 73 yards in 8 plays. It was a balmy 70 degrees in New York, and everyone was looking for a place in the sun. Bronco running back Fran Lynch found his in the Jets' end zone, and the Jets couldn't keep him out of it. Lynch's 2 scores, the second set up by number 87, Rich Jackson's rush, and number 43, Pete Jaquiz's interception, gave Denver a 14-7 lead. A field goal by number 11, Jim Turner, made the halftime score 14-10 Denver. As the third quarter began, the consistently strong Denver defense forced the Jets to punt. And the Bronco offense bounced back. Quarterback Steve Tinsey hit number 41, Eric Crabtree, over the middle, and the speedy end outraces number 24, Johnny Sample, and number 42, Randy Beverly. Another look at that 72-yard play reveals the near perfection that makes up Denver's longest scoring play of the season and gives them a 21-10 lead. Despite strong running by number 41, Matt Snell, and number 35, Billy Joe, and a total offense of 460 yards compared to Denver's 219 yards, the Jets can only add a field goal and trail 21-13 with time running out. But like the little girl with a curl in the middle of her forehead, when Namath is good, he is very, very good. And so are his receivers, Don Maynard, who believes in giving a guy a hand. And split-end George Sauer, who uses only one hand to make a fantastic catch. However, like that same little girl, when Joe Willie is bad, he is horrid. This is made apparent on interceptions by number 28, Jack Lynn, and 2 by number 20, Charlie Greer, who was stung for the first and last time in the game on Namath's 60-yard toss to Maynard in the first quarter. Throughout the closing minutes, Namath went to his prime receivers, George Sauer and Don Maynard, with success. But each time, the stubborn Denver defense stopped the scoring threat. With no timeouts and less than a minute to go, Namath hit Sauer, who ran out of bounds on the Denver 3-yard line. On third down, Emerson Boozer ran into one of his own men and was stopped for no gain. On fourth down, with 9 seconds remaining, Namath's last-ditch pass hit the crossbar, and Denver upset New York 21-13. The Kansas City Chiefs' war paint turned to a blushing red as its strong defense was matched by the Cincinnati Bengals. The first half was consumed with so many good defensive plays that very little offense could be generated. Mike Garrett of the Chiefs is run out of bounds by Al Beauchamp, who in his own fatherly way offers some sage words of advice. Actually, Beauchamp is giving Garrett some hot tips on the stock market, and Mike is telling Al what he can do with them. Both teams blitzed, battered, and bombed one another so badly that only 11 first downs were recorded in the first half. At one time, the contest looked more like a bulldogging event than a football game. Trailing 3-0 in the third quarter, Cincinnati got a big break when Harry Gunner intercepted a Lynn Dawson pass and somehow ran it back to the Kansas City 8-yard line. The Bengals had to settle for a field goal, however, when John Stofa's third down pass hit the goalpost. With the score tied at 3-all, Jan Stinnerud would again be called upon to salvage some points for the inconsistent Kansas City offense. His 38-yard field goal late in the third put the Chiefs ahead to stay 6-3. It wasn't until the fourth quarter that Kansas City could mount a sustained drive. Moving on sweeps and short passes, the largest gain was a 12-yard run by Robert Holmes off left tackle. Holmes finally got the touchdown from 1 yard out, as the Chiefs took a heavy dose of their own type of punishment to outlast Cincinnati 13-3. In Boston, Massachusetts, there's a football field 100 yards long. The only problem this week was that the home team spent most of its time trying to escape from its own backyard. The Boston Patriots insignia handsomely adorns the 50-yard line at Fenway Park. The Patriots could not cross that emblem until the fourth quarter. Why? The Houston Oilers defense did not let them. Number 35, Jim Nance, last year's leading rusher, was stopped, and therefore so was the Patriots' ground game. Boston's pass offense never had a chance against the Oilers' tremendous rush. When the Patriots did manage to get one up, Houston's defensive secondary was always there to remind them, gently, that they were not permitted into Oiler territory until the fourth quarter. With only 2 first downs in the first half, Boston was forced to go for the bomb. But Houston knew this, and they waited, and turned an almost into a nothing. But the final quarter finally came, and Mike Tolliver passed his way across the magic mid-stripe. For the first time in an extremely long day for Boston, the offense flowed smoothly and moved effectively. The play that could have kept the Patriots in the game. Number 41, Larry Carwell of Houston, touched the ball first, and the ruling was an interception. A judgment call on a simultaneous catch. The Patriots did cultivate one more threat, but as all their other attempts, this too was a no-no. What was Houston's offense doing while its defense was holding Boston? Tripping over each other. With Houston's lead quarterback still out, number 12, Bob Davis, was in command. When the offensive team didn't move, he moved himself. For most of the game, he was the leading rusher. But there is a reason coaches discourage scrambling for their prize quarterbacks, as you shall shortly see. But Davis is young and recuperates quickly. Again he scrambled, but this time for the only touchdown of the game. The Oilers scored 3 field goals for a total of 16 points. The Boston Patriots were shut out for the first time in 33 games. Bob Greasy looked more like a running back than a quarterback as he ran a foot race against the Buffalo Bills in the Orange Bowl. Miami quarterback Bob Greasy did a lot of dancing today, but it wasn't planned and it wasn't very pretty. The Buffalo secondary repeatedly blanketed the Dolphin receivers, leaving number 12 no alternative but to try to make the best of a bad situation. Greasy was constantly forced to run, and as a result ended up the day as the 3rd leading rusher. The Dolphin defense was far from inactive. Number 21, Tom Flores, making his first appearance of the year, received a rather rude greeting. So did Keith Lincoln, number 20, in a play typical of the defensive showing. Buffalo struck first on a 51-yard field goal from Bruce Alford. But Miami went ahead on a second quarter bolt from number 21, Jim Kick. The 1-yarder made it 7-3. Near the end of the half, a quick interchange set up another Buffalo field goal. Rookie Dick Anderson intercepted a pass from Flores, and put Miami in excellent position. Greasy committed the same error, though, as number 72 Ron McDowell intercepted his pass and ran it out to the 44. This set the stage for Alfred's second kick, which made it 7-6 at the half. The third period was scoreless, although little Max Anderson almost gave Buffalo 6 points. He took the handoff and was apparently stopped, but somehow shook loose and sped to the Miami 35. In the fourth period, the Dolphins held a 1-point lead. Greasy made a nice run when his receivers were covered. The play resulted in 21 yards for Miami and a knock in the head for an unaware spectator. The Dolphins got a break when number 22 Willie West intercepted a faulty pass from Buffalo's second quarterback, Kay Stevenson. This gave Miami possession on the Bills' 40. Greasy threw to fullback Larry Zonka, who picked up 20 yards on a good run. Number 35, Stan Mitchell, scored from the 1 and gave Miami a solid 14-6 lead with little time remaining. But Buffalo started to move with less than 2 minutes left. Paul Costa from Notre Dame and the Bills' third quarterback of the day, number 10, Dan Dara, began to click, and on 3 passes moved the ball to the Miami 3-yard line. On third down with 23 seconds left, Dara dropped back and found rookie Gary McDermott open in the end zone. The pass made it 14-12 Miami. Ed Rutkowski, who is normally a flanker, came in at quarterback and threw a perfect shot to McDermott for 2 points and a final 14-14 tie. If you were going to pick a perfectly miserable day to upset the Oakland Raiders, the San Diego Chargers couldn't have made a better choice. The first play of the game foretold all. San Diego's defense was not in awe of the Oakland Raiders' running game. Then there was the Raiders' passing attack. That too fell short. Number 40, Joe Beauchamp, stopped Oakland's first serious scoring threat. San Diego on offense is usually a bomb to number 19, Lance Alworth. But today Alworth exploited the short pass up the middle. The passes may have been short, but with a little running room, Alworth's gains were not. In close, Charger fullback number 37, Gene Foster, scored, and San Diego led 10-0 on this plunge and an earlier field goal. If Raider coach Johnny Roush looks upset, don't sympathize. He's got a defensive arsenal that's, well, impressive. Forced to punt early in the second quarter, San Diego couldn't have picked a worse target. George Atkinson. He's a dangerous return artist and should be stopped. Should be. Atkinson's 80-yard return left the Raiders trailing only 10-7, and Oakland fans know from past experience that this was the beginning of the end for San Diego. In fact, the Raiders' defense started to play this little game called Dump the Quarterback. But number 21, John Hadle, came up with his little answer: make up for the lost yardage, and then some, by going to Lance Alworth. Oakland's defense continued their harmless prank. But so did John Hadle, and this time he made it pay off. Allworth scored on the 38-yarder, and San Diego now led 17-7. Then, with just a minute to play in the first half, the Raiders quarterback, Darryl LaMonica, performed what is probably the most beautiful thing to watch in football: the precision last-minute drive. 80 yards in 40 seconds. Step out of bounds and stop the clock. Flood the defense with 5 receivers and go to your backs. For the 7, number 81, Warren Wells, made a beautiful catch, and Oakland only trailed 17-14 at halftime. Perhaps the second half is something the Raiders' offense would rather forget. But don't ask the San Diego defense to forget their finest half hour. The second half offense of the Chargers, although it did not score a touchdown, displayed a second effort that made near losses into 5-yard gains. Gaping holes were punched in the Raiders' famed defensive front wall, and number 37, Gene Foster, had a game total of more than 100 yards rushing. And of course, there was always Allworth, the super flanker, the Bambi, who pulled out the third down situations, and the Chargers scored twice more on field goals. In the entire second half, Oakland made 1 first down, and that was on the last play of the game, when it couldn't possibly help anyone but the Raiders statistician. For Sid Gilman, the Chargers coach, this was the game that had to be won, was won, and was wonderful to be enjoyed. For the Oakland Raider followers, this 23-14 loss ended the 14-game winning streak, and worse, ended the myth that they were unbeatable. As a result of this loss, Oakland fell out of the league's top spot the first time since 1966. 2 weeks ago, it appeared that the Raiders in New York were shoo-ins to win their divisions. But suddenly it's impossible to see a clear favorite in either division. In the West, Kansas City, Oakland, and San Diego are headed for a furious fight to the championship. In the East, the same is true, with New York, Boston, and Houston. This week will be remembered as the one that showed the championship trail to be bumpy and unpredictable. The team that can best fight off the sting of defeat will be the ultimate winner. I'm Charlie Jones.